Computer. Excellent. All right. Thank you, everyone. Happy Monday, September the 12th, 2022. We're going to start with a few product updates really quickly. So for the first update, this is probably well known by now, but I know the information is still sort of filtering out. But in case you missed it, we have now renamed the protect stage to govern, or if you want to think we are deprecating the protect stage and creating a new govern stage. The big driver of this change is really to align with our doubling down on our security and compliance focuses. We're trying to centralize what we were already doing in different parts of the application. This is also going to help streamline our efforts to continue providing a first-class software supply chain experience inside of the GitLab product. So the notable product side changes on this one, we have the security orchestration category. This is being renamed to security policy management, which is effectively what it does right now. That's our policy builder. Samir, this was your question. So compliance management, the entire group is moving from the manage stage over to the new govern stage. So that's all the compliance frameworks, the whole team. So that's Sam Kerr. He will continue to be the product manager for that area and the engineering efforts as well. We have my group threat insights. We are being cut and paste from secure to govern. So nothing is really changing on our side either. Same team, same focus, same scope for right now with the vulnerability management. We're just going to be under govern, since that seems to be a little bit more of the alignment, since we're really focused on visibility and there's a tight coupling with the compliance piece. We have container scanning. The category is actually being moved over to the software composition analysis group. So they'll now have the dependency scanning as well as the container scanning, which makes sense. There's a lot of synergies between the two, and it didn't make as much sense to keep it in govern given the new charter focus. And then finally, threat insights is actually going to get a new category. We've created the dependency management category. This is going to include the existing dependency list and the license compliance pages for right now. It is a very UI focused. If you want to think of it as the UI for dependency scanning, license compliance, and the SBOM, I shouldn't say generation, sort of the download or availability. This is very much like what vulnerability management does. We're sort of the UI for the security tools. We don't manage or own any of the analyzers themselves. We're not going to own the dependency scanners or the generators for any of that, but we are sort of the ingest, the data model, and the display of all that. So I think that's it. Those are kind of the big questions. So any questions or comments on that?
Quick question for folks who may not be watching this video right now. Are all of these changes reflected on the public-facing websites as of today?
Yes. So everything I'm talking about should be public now. We have updated things like the direction pages. There should be redirects in place for things that used to refer to protect, now pointing as govern. So yes, this is publicly available information.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I live on that page. I see it, govern stage, threat, compliance. Nice. Good. Nothing like annoying the wrong people in Slack. I do that enough accidentally. Good.
Yeah, it will take some time to kind of adjust to the changes. I know there's lots of little bits where things are still going to maintain the old names, and we'll have to update things. So if you see them, please call them out. It's little bits, but the bulk of the changes are already rolled out. Actually, it probably makes sense for me to share my screen too, so people have something to look at on this. You can certainly do that. From a recent deliveries, if you might have missed this over the last couple of releases, these are three of the highlights. So the first is browser-based DAST. So this is our homegrown tool that our DAST, our dynamic analysis team, working with the vulnerability research group, has been working on for many months now. They now have all of the passive checks are enabled by default in the browser-based version. So what that team is doing is they're essentially taking the existing checks and rules from the, at this point, the legacy ZAP-based scanner and porting them over to the homegrown tool. Once we have everything in our new browser-based DAST engine, we'll be able to sunset the old proxy-based one. So passive checks are now done. Active checks are going to be the next area of focus. So this is a pretty important milestone for that, and having our own homegrown DAST solution. So that's pretty cool. They've also been doing a ton of performance tuning on these as well in the background. So I know they've managed to achieve a lower level of false positives than what we get from the existing tool, as well as the speed. And of course, this being browser-based, it is much better suited to some of the modern applications like single page applications than the proxy-based solution. So this is really kind of a unique tool in the space. They're pretty excited about that. Scan execution policies. Oh, sorry, Brian, you had a question?
Just a quick one, Matt. Is that that homegrown tool? Is that something we're open coring, or is that internal?
That is a great question. The time, I don't believe that we're open coring it, since it is sort of proprietary IP, and the way that it's designed, we think is actually fairly unique in terms of DAST-based tooling. I don't know if they have any plans to do that long term. That may be something to check with Derek on.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
From a rules perspective, they may be looking at making the rules engine open, but the tool itself, I'm not sure.
Can I ask a quick follow-on question there, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is pretty nitty-gritty, so it may be a bit of an unfair ask, but I'll go anyway. I recently used the DAST request headers CI/CD variable to do some header file interpolation of a 2FA token. Do you know if there's expected to be changes in how the environment variables, for example, DAST request headers, are handled by the new engine?
No clue.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I would check with Derek, and that may be one for his engineering team.
You got it. Thanks, sir.
All right, we have scan execution policies. So as a reminder, these are the things that will allow you to force includes of some of our security analyzers inside of pipelines as effectively appended jobs to the existing pipeline configuration. These are now able to be applied to all projects underneath a group or a subgroup. So if you are able to use that same kind of that policy or configuration over a wide range of projects inside of a single group, you can now do that application. So one thing to note, this is only for those execution policies. It does not yet apply to scan result policies, which are what you use to require security approvals. All right, and finally, this one, it's a bit of current state as well as forward state. So SAST, just to note, is continuing its consolidation from of some of the legacy analyzers onto semgrep. So there's more details in the particular issue, but that continues to be their long-term goal, is ultimately to sunset all of the individual language-specific open source analyzers and have one semgrep-backed analyzer for all static analysis. All right, those were kind of the big updates and changes we've got from the last couple of months and looking forward. Any questions before we wrap the recording here?
This is all good news. Thank you, Matt.
All right, we'll go ahead and cut it there.